What's going on, everyone? Before we get into things, short and sweet, February 1st, the Royal Rumble. C2 Wrestling will be live right here on our YouTube channel. Our live reactions to the entire show. There should be returns, there should be surprises, maybe even debuts. Come hang out with us right here on C2 Wrestling. Talk wrestling, see our reactions to whatever happens. Maybe we get a rant or two. There was so many funny moments during the Raw debut on Netflix. I am sure there will be plenty of funny moments for this one. So come hang out, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know when we go live. Now, let's get into the video.
C2 Wrestling back again. Saturday night's main event. We are here reviewing it in our poses for our boy Gunther, retaining his World Heavyweight Champion in Gunther fashion. Pretty good show tonight. Nothing too crazy. Primetime TV, few title matches as CTD shows off the World Heavyweight title. I got it to the left of me. What a belt. What a match. Start from the beginning of the show, though. Opening it up, Nia Jax versus Rhea Ripley. You know, we were on record already saying didn't have to be on the card. Really just kind of squeezed a match in there. Nothing too crazy. Not a whole lot to touch on with that match, in my opinion.
Yeah, honestly, like it happened. Um, don't dislike either of them. We've seen the match before on a bigger stage, almost exactly a year ago. Um, Card needed a women's match. Could they have just done Tiffany Bailey here instead? Instead of a week ago? Maybe, but whatever. Not the worst thing. It wasn't like I'm not begging for my 15 minutes back. Yeah, on to the Rumble for them.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. I do agree. Tiffany Bailey fit the bill a little bit more, in my opinion, but it is what it is. You know, maybe SmackDown would have been lesser if Tiffany and Bailey didn't wrestle on SmackDown. So nothing too crazy. Following that match, though, was the IC title. Braun Breaker defending against Sheamus. You know, 10, 12-minute banger, nothing too crazy. Commercial break in between. Solid matchup, nothing to hate on. Nothing 5 out of 5 stars. Don't get me wrong. I think we've seen better matches by both of these guys, but I'm never going to complain seeing Sheamus and Braun in the ring together. They're going to put on a great match every time.
No, I think the biggest takeaway from this match is Michael Cole at the end, putting the extra emphasis on Sheamus has failed again. Um, we've been in our prediction video, we were confident that Sheamus wasn't winning here,
Yeah.
but confident that this is the start of the full-fledged chase again for Sheamus, similar to, even before he faced Braun the first and second time, more similar to when he was leading up to facing Gunther, you know, at Clash and at Mania in the Triple Threat. This is going to be the start of the full-fledged Sheamus push for the IC title. Had to start with a loss. There was no way he was winning it tonight.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, for sure. If you were tuned into our live stream, you would have caught. I'm so congested. I'm dying over here. It's been a rough night. But we're making
I
do.
tried to ignore it, but I couldn't.
I'm dying over here. I'm literally leaking as we talk. But we had Sheamus versus Braun. You know, we mentioned this during the match that it's likely Sheamus gets the match at Mania, the IC title match, even if that's in multi-man fashion. Sheamus getting another IC title match, probably the win in his next IC title match. How many times can he really lose the big match before you win the big match?
Yeah, exactly. And this match, we mentioned how it was thrown together, but not thrown together. A matchup that made sense just happened kind of quickly. So you would expect him to lose with how quick it was put together and the match made official. Now, I wouldn't be shocked if Sheamus wasn't even in the Rumble. I assume he is, but I wouldn't be shocked if he wasn't and there's just more emphasis on him getting that chase going for the IC title. You mentioned maybe a multi-man match, maybe it's another one-on-one match, but I think that's the finish of this. Sheamus is going to finally get it. He signed that new deal. He's not going anywhere. He deserves it. I think this is the start point.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's very easy to do a Sheamus down bad type story arc where, you know, he lost his last few matches. He gets eliminated in the Rumble. He doesn't get into the Chamber. He can't get on the Mania card. You know, he can kind of go that route, which they've done with superstars in the past. And Sheamus finagles his way into the IC title match, getting his big victory. Braun Breaker goes on to bigger and better things. I think it works for everybody. I love Braun as champion. Braun's already a two-time IC champion. I'm not opposed to him losing it even next week, the week after that, or at Mania. He can have a 6-month run and he can hold it for another month and lose it and move on to other things. I think it's all good. You know, sometimes there's guys you don't want to lose the title. I want Braun to be on TV. Braun is one of those guys that great with a title, doesn't really need a title, in my opinion. So you use it as leverage. You know, you use that title to get Sheamus a little bit more over. Sheamus gets his big win for the IC title, and then who do you build up to beat Sheamus? Is the next question.
For sure. So that's clearly the start of that. But the last two matches were those were the big ones for the show.
Yes, yeah. But before those last two matches, we had a little bit of a contract signing, you know, between Owens and Cody. Nothing too crazy. Kind of exactly what I expected. Basic contract signing. Owens attacks Cody. Cody goes down for a minute. Owens goes after HBK. Cody breaks it up. HBK with a super kick is cool to see. Just feeds into their match a little bit for next week. Not too much to touch on there.
Oh, there is one thing. HBK sweating like
Oh
a
yeah,
monster.
yeah. HBK, I think he did the wet hair thing, but forgot he doesn't have hair,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
all the water just went down and got his shirt all wet. You know, yeah, he
The
was.
B in HBK stands for boiling.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah,
was
yeah,
Sid drenched.
yeah. He was drenched. Fine contract signing again.
Yeah.
I said it during the live show that it's really just to build up the hype for the Royal Rumble. You know, you got maybe some casuals tuning into NBC prime time. Maybe they see that and it entices them to watch the Rumble next week. So I understand why they did it tonight instead of maybe doing it yesterday at Friday Night SmackDown. It was cool. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, nothing crazy, but the next match, a little crazy.
No, no crazy. I mean, one of the guys in the match did go to jail 3 times before he was 18,
Yeah.
you know? So,
They made sure to tell you that multiple
yeah,
times.
yeah. You know, if this was a matter of years ago, that would have been a big no no to say. But we got Jacob Fatu versus Braun Strowman. Michael Cole announcing on commentary during Fatu's entrance that this guy is a convict. You do not mess with this guy right here. You know, it's just hilarious to hear. Fatu is fantastic, great talent. Listen, people do bad shit in life. They can figure it out. Fatu seems like a great guy. I've recently listened to Baron Corbin on Chris Van Vliet's podcast, and Baron Corbin goes to bat for Fatu about how great of a guy he is during that podcast. That's all in the past, but absolutely use it to help build this character that is this tribal wolf, this badass Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, he beat the brakes off Strowman, which again, it goes to what we have said so many times on this channel. You don't have to win to be the winner. And technically, he
Oh, no.
lost.
Yeah, technically he lost. Yeah. You know, we were saying the same thing last night on our Friday Night SmackDown review about Carmelo. You don't have to be the guy to win to go over. Fatu comes out of that better than ever. You know, that's very similar to the Bronson Reed, Seth Rollins segment. Bronson Reed came out of that over the moon. I think Fatu has a very similar trajectory.
For sure. They made him look like $1 million. He destroyed the biggest guy in the company, literally, not figuratively. Had him bleeding like crazy, hits multiple moonsaults. I know there's only like 10 people to choose from, but Jacob Fatu's got to be tonight's biggest winner, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, by far. Everything outside of Fatu was standard. You know, not that Gunther has another win under his belt, sure, but it was just a standard like exhibition match. Honestly, that I'm sure Gunther and Jay have run that same match on a house show. If you know, like it's a
Yeah,
standard match. As much as we love our boy Gunther, Fatu was the only match that really had like further storytelling. I feel like the Gunther Jay is done. Braun Sheamus is done for now. You know, maybe that rehashes. Nia Ray is over. You know, we still have story to be told with Fatu. You know, Strowman's off TV for a few weeks, I'm sure. Eventually, Strowman comes back and they get another singles match at some point. I'm positive that will happen. The trajectory is only up for the Samoans, especially Jacob Fatu.
for sure. And it really doesn't rule out Jacob getting a singles match at Mania. I don't think he'll face Solo. We've been pretty adamant that it really doesn't make sense that quick Solo ain't going face that quick. Really doesn't interest me if I'm being honest. But the way they're booking Jacob, I know it seems like Priest is the post-Mania feud for Cody. I love you, Priest, but we might need that Jacob title run right after Mania.
Yeah, I mean it's tough because a lot of the times I like to see some of these guys get built up and have a mid card title run or this or that prior. I mean, Fatu does have a tag title championship under his run, but Fatu is one of those guys. And if you're ever going to just strap the rocket to and put a main title on him, you could. It would be Fatu. I mean, I could honestly see Strowman being off TV for a few weeks. Maybe he comes back. Maybe that's the Mania match as a rematch, Strowman versus Fatu in a last man standing match or something. Maybe that fills the card up a little bit.
A
They are
last
kind of
monster
monster
standing.
standing. You're right, and stairs.
Yeah.
Maybe they go a different route. Maybe Fatu and Tama Tonga are in the tag title mix. It seems like they are kind of using them as a tag team. Tangaloa obviously hurt. Solo Sokoa just off TV at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised at Fatu versus Solo. I think it's still a little soon for that matchup, in my opinion. I'm just all on board for whatever they're doing with Fatu. It doesn't matter what direction they're going. I want it to be great, but I'm gonna turn my TV on for it. Like I'm going to be watching.
It's kind of like the best way to put it is you have a guy who is really good at pretty much everything he does, and you have a TV show slash booking that's been really good for the last year and a half, 2 years, whatever, that it feels like the ultimate combination of something drastically bad has to happen for this to get fucked up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, something drastically bad does have to happen for that to get lost or get fucked up. And there's only the sky's the limit for a lot of this talent right now, and Fatu especially. I feel like he is one of the wrestlers that has a collective of the fan base really behind him. A lot of these wrestlers nowadays, there's always somebody out there, some Twitter troll that has something to say. I haven't seen anybody say a single bad thing about Fatu.
No, and deservedly so because he doesn't deserve hate because he is fantastic.
Yeah,
One person who has gotten some hate that is absolutely undeserved because he is not just your world heavyweight champion. He is not just the greatest wrestler on the planet. He is not just C2's men's wrestler of the year. He is not just the official man for our Stan account. He is the greatest of all time. Gunther.
our boy C2's very own wrestler of the year, Gunther, takes down Jay again, standard match. They did this before. What was it? Was it on a Raw that they faced Jay and Gunther?
Yes.
Yes, that was a Raw, right? They ran it back totally fine. If there's ever somebody to run it back with Gunther, Jay was a great name for it. Jay is over the moon. How do you get people? How do you get kids to tune into the show tonight? Jay Uso world title match. People are going to be tuned in. It does help the Jay Uso arc a little bit. He also has upward trajectory. Absolutely could win a main title within the year of 2025. That gets people a little bit more tuned into Jay. I want to see him do it. Oh, he couldn't get it here. Maybe next time. Whenever they run that back again, Jay versus whoever for the title, they're going to have fans tuned in for that.
I did think I was pretty confident we were going to get a Drew interference because
Yeah.
Drew and Jay still have some. Well, Drew's still got a score to settle with with Jay in his mind. Um, I thought that was going to happen. I love that it didn't. Love
Yeah.
that Gunther just won. A bit of at the end, Gunther giving the respect. Underestimated Jay a little bit. Jay clearly isn't a mascot. Is better than Gunther thought. But I'm glad Gunther got the clean win because we mentioned it plenty of times with Gunther's title run. We want definitive. Like, we
Yeah.
do not want the cheating. We do not want the help from outside interference. And he doesn't either.
Yeah.
Hence the Priest rematch, the Priest Balor triple threat. Like,
Orton
that is his
rematch.
character. What was that? The
The
Orton
Orton
rematch. Yes.
rematch. Yeah.
Exactly. That is his character. So him beating Jay clean makes me so much happier because if Drew did get involved, He'd have to face Jay again.
Yeah, he would have to. I mean, maybe they show a little bit of tension between Gunther and Drew, but yeah, it would ultimately lead to an eventual. I didn't get my clean match against you. Let's get a rematch, which I'm sure they would just run on a Raw again. But it's not totally necessary right now. You can hold Jay and Gunther away from each other for a little while, and it works out just fine. We still can't really even say we might be getting Gunther going to SmackDown still soon, and then that keeps him in a totally new world. He's really an entire new slate of competitors for the most part. There's only been a couple transfers. Opportunities are endless for both of these guys. Jey Uso, again, over the moon. I said it during the live show again. He has the potential money in the bank slot right now. Who else do they give that briefcase to outside of Jey Uso right at the moment? I don't know. I really don't know. I think Jey Uso probably holds that title by the end of 2025.
There's a good chance. I mean, I don't see Cody dropping his title anytime soon. So I wouldn't expect a, multiple title change of that title to
Yeah,
lead it to Jay's hands. I could see a world title win for him. You have mentioned I could see a Money in the Bank win for him for
yeah,
sure. There's a few different avenues I could see for him. He is so over. And look, as much as Rikishi goes crazy about it, he is the guy that it doesn't matter how many times he loses, the fans just continue to get more and more behind him. So really, what's the rush?
yeah. What's the rush? It's a slow build. Jay really is like, listen, I'm not saying he's '08 Jeff Hardy over, but it's kind of like a similar comparison of over with Jay. The fans love him from kids to adults. Him coming out to the ring tonight on the stairs with the kid, doing the yeet, doing the chant. That's great stuff to see. I think Jay is really like a low key face of the company, if you want me to be honest. Jay is up there with the upper echelon of athletes right now in that company. I think the sky's the limit for him, just like a couple of the superstars we've already talked about. But Jay, Fatu, a lot of these guys they've showcased tonight, they're showcasing for a reason.
Jay is kind of sneakily bumped up to that next echelon of
Yes.
superstars. I mean, he comes out with some of your favorite rappers, Snowden, in multiple events, but he like if we have this conversation, you know, even as long as a year ago, even when he first started the main event, Jey Uso nickname a few years ago, like yes, he was in the main event, but you always kind of looked at him as like that tier of the mid card. Like you thought,
Yeah,
like, oh yeah, he's probably going to win like an IC title or something. He has gotten so big, he's gotten so over, he sells so much merch that it's kind of like, you see the progression, but it almost feels like you blinked and it's like, oh, this guy, he's at that level.
yeah,
He's in the Cody, the CM Punk, the Gunther, the Roman Reigns, like he's in their category. Now, those guys aren't The Rock or John Cena, but those guys are at such an elite level. Jay has already gotten there, but
absolutely.
just not enough.
Just not enough for our boy Gunther. Jay has he's similar to another name to me. This is maybe a weird comparison, but Trick Williams. Trick Williams and Jey Uso both are like happy accidents. Absolutely love Jay, absolutely love Trick. I don't think either of them were really slated to become what they've become so far in wrestling. They kind of are guys that slipped through the cracks and made it big when they weren't really the guy that was supposed to make it big. And Jay is taking that ball and running with it right now. But the only person swatting that ball out of Jay's hand, it's our boy, Gunther.
The greatest of all time, the reigning, defending, undisputed WWE World Heavyweight Champion. The Royal Rumble is next week. Make sure you watch it because whatever person wins it gets their chance at a free ticket to the hospital after they try to challenge the greatest of all time.
The greatest of all time, our boy Gunther, hopefully world heavyweight champion forever. We got some more shows coming. Next week, the Royal Rumble. Gunther may not be on that card, but he's going to be there in spirit with us with C2 Wrestling. But we want all of you guys to be there with us as well. We will be live yet again for the Royal Rumble, our first Royal Rumble live. You guys may have not seen us watch a Royal Rumble yet, but we have an absolute blast.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fucking ball. So come hang out with us. We have a little bit of a pool going. We'll be paying attention to that as well. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. So much stuff coming your guys' way. We want you to comment, like, subscribe, turn the notifications on. Let oh God, can't speak. So we can let you know when we're going live next week for the Royal Rumble.
The Ringhal. Gunther.
Ludwig Kaiser. What a guy. What an introduction. To send off this podcast review, I should say. Not a podcast. C2's own Snowden. First time ever. You're getting the MVP treatment as I put on a nasal strip.
Oh, 1, 2. You hear the clock ticking. Tick, tock. You about to stop living. Tick, tock. I want you to remember me. Tick, tock. Cause Snowden is congested. He's blowing his nose out.
Whoa, pause. Hold on. Wait a minute. I'm congested. We'll leave it at that. All right. C2 Wrestling.